another live episode of On the Hunt with Alpha Optics, and I'm your host, Rick White, coming to you from a very cold Iowa at this point. But anyway, tonight's guest, Mr. Ron Toth from Pennsylvania, and we'll jump right into Ron. Hey, Ron, how you doing there, buddy?
Good, Rick. How you doing?
Oh, good. We just, we got that cold weather coming in, and in fact, kids didn't have school today, so they probably were grateful for the cold weather. But yeah, it's pretty chilly here. So
yeah, in Pennsylvania, I think it's dropping down to 5, but nothing near as cold as you are.
Must be that global warming going around, huh?
Must be, huh?
Yeah. So listen, we're going to talk about a lot of neat things tonight. First of all, this is we had the holidays, and we had a couple of shows, and then last week I wasn't feeling very well, and so we've been running some reruns for the last few weeks, but we're live. We're back at it again, and so I'm glad to have you as my guest for the first live show of the new year. So happy New Year, everybody, and hope your deer season was well. But anyway, I want to talk about some different things tonight. But one of the things that I want to talk about, and you're probably going, oh boy, here we go. But I know this about you because for the last, I don't know how many years, pretty much you have sent me a bottle of wine for Christmas for years, and you are a wine rep, a wine salesman, and you have been for how many years? How many years you been doing that?
It's going on 18.
18 years.
18
so I want to pick your brain a little bit on what wines, just 5 minutes, what wines go good or best with some of the wild game that we go out and hunt. Deer, elk, moose, turkey, fish, on and on and on, and maybe even just regular old beef and pork. But what do you recommend for some of those things?
Well, the importance of pairing wines up with any food is, remember, the ingredients are more important than the protein. So what I mean by that is, you can doll up your meat, you can make it spicy, you can make it bland. You can't overspice anything you're cooking, or you're gonna have to change wines. Does that make sense?
It does to me, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I've seen some of your shows in the past. You was making deer tenderloin with had toothpicks stuck in it. Remember that show?
Yeah.
And you put it on the grill. Was there cheese in it? Didn't you roll some cheese in it?
Blue cheese.
Yes. Yeah, I remember.
Yep. So
that
hi, I'm Rick White.
There,
today I want to share with you
cheese. So you could probably with the meat probably go with because I don't think you had a lot of pepper. You probably go with like a Zinfandel. But as you get into spices, as you start getting the spices, then you want to go a little bit heavier, like a Malbec. And if you start very light, I always, every time I make any type of meat or turkey or whatever, I don't add a lot of spices because I like the flavor of your meat.
Do you have a favorite wine yourself? I mean, everybody has their favorite, I'm sure. But what is a good, in your opinion, a good quality wine at a reasonable price?
Well, your best value wine is probably your Zinfandel from Lodi, California. But I seem to be leaning towards Cabernet Sauvignon. It's hearty, it's nice. So what goes best with fish, in your opinion? Grigio, Chardonnay. If you have a lot of butter, cooking it with a lot of butter. Again, you just got to watch what you put into as the spices. You don't want spice to override the wine.
I like a glass of wine every now and then, and I like I'm a sweet wine drinker. You can put all the sugar in the world in my wine, and it's just fine. I'm not into dry wines, but a lot of people I know like them. Huh?
Didn't know that when I sent you that.
Oh, that's okay. My wife loves wine, so she'll drink whatever it is. But anyways, I don't want to make this a wine show. I just thought it was kind of interesting. I mean, here we've got you on the show, and wines. So, so I mean, and I suppose you could drink whatever it is you like. You drink it with whatever meal. But Deer season in my neck of the woods is over. I'm assuming it's over in PA as well. And
We have, I think, this coming weekend's your last weekend.
Okay.
In the area that I live.
Yeah, I'd like to talk a little bit about, I talk about late season deer scouting, but more importantly, after the season deer scouting. That's kind of what I want to talk a little bit about. Now, here in Iowa, and not everywhere in the United States can you do this based on the fact that we have a lot of snow. And snow tell a lot because tracks in the snow. You can see, I mean, they're just beat down trails and where they're coming from and what they're feeding on late. And you can compare this to hunting a month ago because it's the food sources when it gets cold and snow on the ground. And I'm sure you guys have snow out your way too. But I like to go out and do scouting after season. And I look for several things, but I want to let you touch on that a little bit and talk about what you might do late season in the eastern part of the states.
Well, what I like to do is, go out, like you said, the trails are very easy. You can very easily see the trails from the snow cover. But, what I found out a lot, I don't know if this goes up in Iowa, that the deer, because the weather's so cold, they like that sun hitting them. So they seem to lay down, bed down, where that sun's coming up first thing in the morning and hitting them. They don't like to go in a hollow where they might not get their sunlight until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You want to have that sun hit them right there. So that's one thing. Any type of slope facing the morning sun, I see that a lot of bedding areas there. Another thing everybody knows that late season, when the snow covers, their main source is food. Have to find food. So around some knockdown corn fields, any type of little saplings that they can browse on. They're trying to survive throughout the winter.
Well, that's exactly right. And yeah, there is a lot to say about where the sun is facing. Now, if you're in an area where maybe you don't have the snow cover like we do here and what you've got, in the fall, the foliage, in a lot of areas dies down and gets thinner. And so those travel routes are so much more prevalent. Even if there's no snow on the ground, you can get out and you can find those travel routes. Now, what I like to do is I like to think back to the season that I just ended. And I'm thinking about all the times I sat in a particular tree and saw deer, 200 yards from me going up over a ridge, and they were doing it consistently. So now's the time to get over there and walk around because it's more obvious what they're doing as compared to waiting until summertime.
Right.
And sometimes it's just a down tree or maybe a fence is down, or there's just a creek or water runoff, and a little bottleneck where they're using. And while it's fresh in my mind, I like to find those spots right now. And I'll even mark those trees, or at least make a mental note, or make a note piece of, put on a piece of paper. I'll make notes because I know where my stands were. But I know that come next year, in fact, this year on the farm that I hunt all the time here in Iowa, I've already got 3 new spots based on what I saw this year that I think are going to be really good spots come next year.
Yeah, it's kind of true. Another thing I have to mention is the similarities of turkey in the winter and the fall. Here, turkeys, the gobblers all stick together. They all bunch up in the fall and the winter. Deer do the same thing. They bunch up with the bachelor herd. So, you could see if you get on a nice area that you could see quite a distance. You might be able to see 4 or 5 bucks, and you can see what's in there for next year. Everybody knows it's a gene pool. And if the gene pool is good, then you have a good chance of killing harvesting a nice buck following year. But it's just fun. But I don't know, I'm not a deer biologist by no means, but I was just trying to get into my head what those things are thinking, what the deer thinking at -5, and are they moving much at all? Are they just trying to just keep still? But we all know that they have to eat every day.
Yeah, our deer in Iowa are really thinking about heading to Florida. right now. So.
That's what I'm thinking about doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, I don't know how many people are watching right now because I don't have, I'm using my phone tonight. But if you have any questions, fire them out. Paul's on the other end running everything from, I believe he's at his house, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I had to come into work.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like he's in a cubicle.
Amy.
So any questions, Paul can filter those and he can jump right in and
I already
fire
blocked
those.
one bot. So
Yeah.
we already had a bot come in and it's like putting links in the comments. You know how they do. I've already blocked 2 of those.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
It's the perils of the internet.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing we got you there then. So, Ron, you talked a little bit, you mentioned turkeys, and I want to talk, the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight is kind of gearing up for spring turkey season. Now, I don't necessarily want to talk about hunting strategies and that kind of thing because we've got a lot of time for that in the upcoming shows, but I would like to talk about things that you can do this time of year because everybody's starting to finish their deer season and most are done. And, everybody's got that spring fever and they're really looking forward to turkey hunting. So I want to talk about some of the things that you can do right now and maybe some of the, just gearing up for spring turkey season, maybe some of the new gear or something you may want to consider, purchasing before spring turkey season actually gets here. Now, you mentioned one thing that you can do this time of year, and that is scout as well as late season deer because turkeys are all flocked together. Now, I'm not concerned about so much where I'm seeing all the turkeys because they're going to split up and be in different places. But if you've got a bunch of turkeys on your property right now, they're not going to be far. They're going to be in those areas. So seeing flocks of turkeys right now is a good thing, knowing that they're going to be in your area come spring turkey season. So what are some of the things, you're probably doing a little bit of scouting now, and it might be something as simple as driving down the road, just glassing them from a distance, but just seeing them. And if you get out in the snow, you can find tracks and so on and so forth. But I've got spring fever. I don't know. What about you?
I definitely have. That's my passion is turkey hunting, and most of my friends know that. What I try to do is I go over all my calls from the previous years and see if they're in good condition, especially mouth calls because I keep mouth calls. I can hold a mouth call pretty long just by proper maintenance. But I go over all my mouth calls, and then I play around with some slate calls, and just a little bit practicing a little bit. Never hurts to practice. I'm a big believer in trying something new. But besides that, I don't really get out in the woods until March when the gobbling activity. I like to be there, Rick, that when they're really starting to just fire up. And how I tell all my friends on that, everybody knows that gobblers gobble all year. I heard one gobble, oh yeah. But I like to get up there and see when that crossover from the hen recepting to the gobbler, starting to call back at the gobbler and showing some interest in the gobbler. I like to be in the woods at that time. What I did find out, and I don't know if you've experienced this ever, but this past fall on Thanksgiving Day, there's gobblers in front of me and fanned out.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're fanned out. It was just almost like a spring hunt. And I ended up harvesting a nice gobbler, but it was just weird because, there wasn't much yelping. It was just fired off and there's gobbling. There's almost like they're challenging one another. And I know the pecking order hasn't started yet. I don't think. I was just wondering what that was about. And then even on my way home, I saw a flock in a field, and there's probably 4 gobblers fanned out with that flock. It was a weird season.
Yeah, they tend to do that in the fall, and you'll hear a lot of turkeys gobbling, not like they do in the spring, though, but they will gobble. Even in this cold weather, some mornings they're gobbling. On a nice sunny day, they're gobbling. I've got turkeys in my yard every day, and once in a while they're strutting this time of year, and other times they're not, so it varies.
Rick.
But I'm glad you mentioned, I'm sorry, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, so the turkeys around here are just so small, but they're still out gobbling in the morning out there in the Carroll County. which is Midwest, middle of the state basically, but they're so small, but they're still out there gobbling. But Becky Whitaker, she wants you to get a tablet.
She wants a what?
She wants you to get a tablet.
Oh, she wants me to get a tablet. Well, I have, Becky, I have an iPad or my laptop, which works great. It's just that I was working all day today. And as Paul knows, nobody here realizes, but I jumped in the shower and virtually got on about 10 minutes before the show started. And I just didn't have time to set up all my stuff. So I'm using my old trusty phone. But yes, Becky, I'll take that to heart. But Ron, you mentioned calls and gearing up for turkey season. Right now is an excellent time not only to inventory your calls, but if you're going to try something new, now's the time to look at buying those turkey calls, and different options and diaphragm calls. And I've got my own line of diaphragm calls, and I use Mr. Wingbone's friction calls, and whatever you want to use, whether it be glass or slate or aluminum, and there's all kinds of different things. But if you're going to get a new call, now's the time to get them and practice. Especially if those of you that aren't very run a diaphragm call as well as you want to. Right now is the time to get out and start practicing that kind of stuff. And you're right, get an inventory. Now, what are some of the things? Are you buying anything new coming? You probably have, just like me. You've got everything you need for turkey season. But is there anything that kind of sparked your eye as far as new gear coming into the season?
I do believe I'm probably going to get another new set of camouflage. Wear and tear on camo as much as I hunt in the spring and fall. You start tearing, it starts tearing up and all that. So I'm looking at new camouflage.
Yeah, I mean, I wear my pants out every year. I got to buy a new pair of pants pretty much. So,
right.
Do you do any hunting out of blinds at all?
No.
Don't you?
I never have. I'm not saying that there's anything against it. I have friends that are very successful out of blinds. I'm just more of a run and gun guy. I like to run and gun as well, especially when I'm hunting. But when I'm filming myself, I find it's a lot easier to do it in a blind. But there's a lot of neat new blinds out there. A lot of different companies making now the full see-through blinds. Have you seen those where you can actually sit inside the blind, and it's like you're sitting behind a one-way mirror. You can see 360 degrees around your blind from the inside, but the outside you can't see in. It's pretty cool. It's also, you went to the ATA, correct?
Yes.
Okay, is there anything new coming out besides that from blind?
Well, there's some new decoys I saw. I'm kind of an Avian X guy, but there's a lot of great decoys out there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Dave Smith makes great decoys, and Callie Morris and his taxidermy decoys are, hard to beat. But what I would tell people, and I'm sure you would the same, whatever decoys that you want to go out and buy and whatever your budget allows you, buy the most realistic looking decoys. They actually work better. I mean, you remember the days of when Featherflex first came out and they'd sit on your steak and go.
Yeah, or you get them out of your jacket and they're all shriveled up.
Yeah. But I remember pulling them out and saying to myself, "Oh my gosh, look at this decoy."
Yeah.
And some of those old decoys, they didn't even look like a turkey, but they worked.
So John Dallas once says that you would want to know that he saw 70 turkeys in 2 different groups in Indiana.
Well, yeah. So John, fellow pro staff member John Dallas, I hunt with John, and John comes and films me on several hunts. But I turkey hunt with him every year, so that is great news. Because Ron, when someone calls you and says, "I saw this many turkeys and that many turkeys on the places you hunt," you get pretty excited, don't you?
Definitely. I get reports just like you probably do throughout the whole year. I have people calling me when it comes closer to the season, telling me what they experience, and it's fun. It's fun communication between all the fellow hunters out there. It's nice. It makes it nice.
Yep. So what should you have in your pack or your turkey vest? What are some of the things? I know you got to have calls, and I know you got to have shells, but what else? What do you have in your vest?
Oh my God, Rick.
I know, but what are some things that you shouldn't go to the woods without?
License.
That's right. Your license, maybe a
You like
knife.
that answer, Paul? That's definitely number
That's a
one.
good answer.
It's just I probably have, I don't know, 6 different mouth calls on me. And then I always have some kind of friction call. And now and then I'll have a box call on me. But with these vests today, Rick, they're just so big. And, you're in the woods and you just go like, where'd I put this? Because
I know.
you have so many pockets and you think you lost stuff. You think you didn't bring stuff. And then you get in your car and you go, oh, there it is. It's tough. I don't really carry a lot of shells with me. I carry about 5 shotgun shells in spring gobber season. That's it. The 3 go. But
Yeah.
3 go into the gun and 2 stay in my little pouch. I don't do that. And then water's important. I don't really go. I'm not a lot of people take a lunch. I'm just too involved. I don't eat. I just go. Crow call, owl call. There's a ton of things you can take in the woods.
Yeah, have a knife. Take a knife with you. Don't forget to take your cell phone, especially if you're hunting by yourself. And I always recommend, some states, the licenses are different in a lot of different states, but some states you have to actually write stuff down and put it on the turkey. So if that's the way your state is, make sure that you have a little Ziploc baggie. I like to take a Ziploc baggie, stick a pen in it, your license in it, a blank piece of paper, keep that stuff dry. Have all that stuff, maybe a couple of bread ties, twisty ties, stick them in there so you can. Correct. And sometimes I'll carry like my fish scale because I love to weigh my turkeys. And they make them for turkeys too. They make a scale with a tape measure and all that stuff. But
so Jordan Dean says you need to bring baby wipes.
Okay.
Well, let's clarify that. Jordan Dean needs to have baby wipes. No, he's right. There's a lot of reasons you can use baby wipes after you field dress your turkey. You can wash your hands, keep them clean, that kind of stuff. It is poultry, but no, that's not a bad idea. Of course, TP, maybe throw it in your vest. You can always have. I have a little mini blind that I stick in the ground. That goes in my vest. Usually an extra pair of gloves and a head net. Thermocell, if I'm hunting down south, you probably don't have that problem where you're at. The black flies are bad up there. Yeah,
not much. But I use that permethrin.
Stanley Tanner says a good chair.
For a patient person. Yeah. There's all kinds of.
Becky Whitaker she says, water, different calls, binoculars, weight scale, knife, and a phone. And of course, Edwin, he agrees with you on the TP.
Yeah. Well, maybe first of all, if I can get Jordan Dean to come and carry my office chair around with me when I go hunting, and that would be nice. But and I'm glad somebody said it because probably as important as my turkey calls is some optics. And if I'm maybe even a rangefinder, especially if I'm, when I'm bow hunting, I shoot most all my turkeys at 10 yards or less. You really don't need a rangefinder for that. But if you're going to shoot them at 20 and 30 yards, you better know that distance. And maybe with a gun, if you're thinking about shooting, know your effective range on in and make sure that they're within that distance. But a pair of binoculars is great because you might be out cruising through the woods. Now, these turkeys, as Ron will tell you, they'll see you 10 times quicker than you'll ever see them. So a good pair of optics where you can actually see detail into the woods sometimes might help you from going up and bumping turkeys. So what else did I miss, Ron? Did I miss anything?
We probably missed some few other things that we probably take in the woods because there's so many. I take a video camera too because normally I go out, I'm the last one to shoot a bird with all my friends and my family. So I just like to film what they do. So.
Another neat thing that people ought to take this year is like an action camera. That where you can, like a Brescher action camera or an Alpen action camera, you can actually. So ours comes with a decoy stake, so you just screw it in and you can set them up. But more importantly, even if you're not going to take the time to do that, after you shoot your turkey and you go and recover it, I mean, you can turn it and face you can face the turkey, you can just make memories that you can keep for yourself. I mean, some of that
I've
stuff.
got a question.
Yeah.
I got a question. It's a little. We got 5 minutes here left in the show, and I want to ask a silly question that's actually kind of fun. If we all go out hunting and we take our cameras and our video cameras and we set it up, we're filming everything. Is Bigfoot been put down where we don't believe in Bigfoot anymore?
Well, Paul, if there was a question to be asked and that was the question, I would be asking you. So what's the answer?
I've never seen a Bigfoot. Well, I've seen a Bigfoot, but not in the context we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I can't honestly say that I've ever seen one, and I don't certainly want to disappoint people that think that they're out there, because maybe they are. I just haven't seen one. I don't know. What about you, Ron?
I have not. I know that there's a chapter in West Virginia, a Bigfoot chapter, and there's a bunch of members of that chapter, and they swear up and down there's Bigfoot out there. I would think, Paul and Rick, that if they did exist, somebody would have shot a Bigfoot down.
Yeah, or all the cameras that are out,
right,
and that kind of thing. We would, all the old videos and stuff have pretty much been debunked. But I don't know. In the back of my mind, I'd like to think there's a Bigfoot out there running around somewhere. Who knows?
Great question.
I mean, you think all these cameras, there has to be something.
Yeah, you would think, Paul, but again, no. You look on the internet, there's UFOs everywhere.
Well, that's true. We've been invaded from the people from the Middle Earth who were put on to us by the aliens from the Orion Nebula.
There you go. So turkey season's around the corner. I cannot wait for it to get here. Ron, where are you? You got any special plans this year to go, turkey hunting, or are you sticking around home? What are you doing?
I try to make plans every year, and it seems that, with work and everything, you run out of time. And that's a sad thing, of being in the workforce, that, you have vacation time, but, I always head up to the mountains with my buddy at his camp for 3 or 4 days. And then I head with my other buddy for 3 or 4 days. And turkey season's only like 4 weeks in Pennsylvania. So after you're taking out so many people, I'm just, comes up too fast, and you don't have time to do everything else. I would like to someday, I'm sure you've probably for the Grand Slam.
Oh yeah, several times. Yeah.
Right. So, Florida opens up in March. That's the first one, correct?
Yep.
I'd like to go down there and carry one Osceola, but got to watch where you go, I guess.
That's right. I'm very blessed and fortunate that, I started hunting in Florida. This will be my first hunt this year in March, and I don't stop hunting until the end of May. I mean, I hunt for 2.5 months, solid turkey hunting, and you know what? Even then, I can't get enough of it. It seems like, but
right.
I absolutely love it. And those of you that are watching, we've got a show called Through the Eyes of a Hunter, and we're always looking for video. So if you're able to go out and capture a turkey hunt or a predator hunt or a deer hunt or any kind of hunting, let us know. Send me a message or send one to Alpin and Bresser, and they'll get it to me. And we'd love to see your footage. And in fact, at Alpin, we're looking for footage to earmark on our show and on the website and that kind of thing. So if you get any great footage, maybe using the action camera or just using products in general, let us know.
Christy Bond says that, and this is something that I found was interesting. Christy Bond says that something to take with you when you go hunting is a good hunting buddy. I think that would probably be quite a good thing.
Well, it is. I mean, passes the time away for sure. It's more, I find it more enjoyable to hunt with somebody than hunting by myself. I don't know. What about you?
Me too. You don't want to hunt.
I mean, you got the memories to share with somebody, and you can talk. I mean, I talk about hunts from 40 years ago to this day with a couple of buddies that I shared those hunts with. And if I did them by myself, who am I talking to about?
Well, and if you see Bigfoot, you've got someone there as a witness.
If I see Bigfoot, Paul, I'm going to hold him for you.
Go ahead. That's fine. Sure.
So, well, anyways, Ron, we're probably getting towards the end of the show. Any other comments?
No, I'm just blessed that you guys had me on again, and I look forward to maybe coming up spring golfer season. We'll start talking more tactics and
absolutely. And if I get out, I may try to run east this year, and if I do, we'll definitely hook up at some point. So
no problem.
we got to get together and do some hunting. We've been talking about it for years.
I know we've been talking about it for years.
So, anyways, Ron, I appreciate you being on. First show, the live show of the new year. So we made history tonight. So,
that's great.
Anyways, we'll definitely have you back on as we get closer to turkey season. Paul, anything else on your end?
Oh no, we're good.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you coming along with us. And next week, again, live, Wednesday, 6 to 6:30. Don't miss an episode. We'll keep them exciting for you. So, and any comments you have on how we can improve on the show, please let us know. But for now, everybody, from my house to yours, good night. We'll see you next week.